Welcome everybody to the Tipped and Stiff podcast with your host Kate Alvarez and
Jared Sturridge.
Hope you all are having a very lovely week. What do we have in the pocket of crock?
Well, we got some enemies now. Well, one enemy that the whole city should be including as their enemy.
Right. Well, and it's a bit of local news.
Yeah, in Kenosha here.
Well, the thing is, somebody owes me money.
Yeah, that's part of it. That can go hand in hand with this.
That's my biggest enemy.
I say we have a few enemies at this point.
We do, but my biggest enemy are the ones that have debts.
This enemy predates the podcast
Truly.
by almost over a year.
2019, like 2 years. So, no, there was a local show we were supposed to play. There was a festival we were supposed to play, and we sold a bunch of tickets to it. And then the show was subsequently canceled because, something happened in 2020. I don't know what it was, but something happened.
Do you know what happened?
No, don't remember.
And it was canceled, and they're fucking, shows are like pay to play now. Like they'll be like, well, you have to buy the tickets from us at half price, and then you sell them and get like a 50% profit. And we did, and we sold a lot of fucking tickets, and then the show was canceled, and then we were like, okay, and we didn't hear back from them, and the festival just happened again. It's happening. I think it just ended. It's happening as we're recording
it's
this.
Still going on.
And they owe us $500. They owe us $500.
As Andy Jepson says, that's sharp.
That's sharp.
That's sharp.
That's sharp. And listen, someone's gonna knock on somebody's door. I'm not saying I'm gonna do anything. In writing, I've been trying to get in contact with them. And if they don't work with me, and I have many evidence of this money being transacted, I will take them to small claims. Small claims court. That is my in writing. My off the record is I can't say what I want to say because I will be put on a list and they could call the police.
This will be used for evidence in small claims court.
I will not show your case immediately.
I will not comment on what I will do, but let it be known it will be swift and justice.
It's what anyone in your position would want to do. Because
I just want a friendly conversation, and I want someone to hand me my money, or else I will take them to court and make a judge hand me their money. Now, here's the thing. There's a bit of an implication to this, and I feel like I got to talk to this because we didn't refund the people who bought our tickets the money and we were always honest with them is because we didn't get our money.
Right.
To my knowledge, that money is sitting in an envelope at the moment.
Somewhere.
I don't have access to it. I don't have the money. But in return to a lot of those people who have, and I know many of the people personally, they will be able to come to shows that we will be doing that will be for sale for free. That will be the consensus on that. And I feel like I have the responsibility of doing that. However, to the motherfucker who owes me $500, my mic went out.
You hit the button, hit the switch.
You will not be invited to my birthday party.
Which is in August. He's a Leo, as you can all tell.
In other news...
Also,
what?
To be fair, the band who signed up to play at this show, who the money is owed to, doesn't exist anymore.
To be fair, but I exist, and I'm a real entity.
Well,
and to be fair, we had a few friends of the show, people who have been on the show who just played at this festival, and we've been. I worked. They supposedly killed it. Listen. It's hard for me to hate too much because they are providing a space for local bands to play, younger people to play, and I think that's awesome. And it's time to get back in the swing of things, and we are. And they had a full show, and God bless them. And however, goddamn whoever owes me money. But And the more local news, I know this is local, but we should talk to us for our community's sake.
And for the people who were just playing last night.
Yes.
At this festival.
Yes, there is a alderman, I believe named Anthony Kennedy, I think is his name. Just look up, if you look up Kenosha promoter license, and mostly Corey Elijah posted something, so you'll be able to go on the Facebook on that and see who it was. I believe is the alderman Anthony Kennedy believes that members and visitors of this great city of ours should have to pay to be promoters, that you should have a promoter license. And I've been told by third party, and I might be wrong on this, that the license could be in a range of like $100 to $250, and for a yearly license. Now, some of you might think that's not too bad, but mind you, that's a 100%, a 1,000% increase because it started at zero. So, and the idea is because Kenosha has had two events and this summer. There was two, I think, shootings at two different venues, a venue and a bar that had to do with out-of-town acts coming in. And for whatever reason, Kenosha's response to handling that is disparaging the promoter and not the venue. And what's strange about that is that a promoter is a very loose term.
Yes.
Mind you, a promoter is someone who promotes any show. So a venue could be my house, and I could be the promoter of my band.
Right.
And now I technically am in a slew for two licenses.
Right.
Which I will pay neither.
Because, then you're in the case where you're the artist and you're the promoter.
Right.
And you're the owner of the venue.
Right.
And in some cases, that venue is big enough, say it's your backyard, and it's like exceeds like 200 people or something. There's some limit.
There's laws.
Then there's a fee
with
that.
So you get into the whole thing. This is the thing. Wisconsin hates musicians.
Yeah.
That's why not many have come from here, and that's why so many of them leave. All right, Wisconsin hates musicians. I put a link. Can we click on the link? I want to show how disparaging Wisconsin is towards musicians. Now, rethinking the art spending in Wisconsin and the U.S. All right, we scroll down. I want to art spending. Wisconsin ranks 48th out of 50 states for public funding for the arts. What are we, West Virginia on the education? What are we talking about? That's West Virginia in education. We are the West Virginia of the arts in America.
Yeah.
And what's embarrassing is that West Virginia is doing better than us in the funding of the arts. I believe. I totally could be wrong. They might be 50th. Actually, they might be 51st as well.
They might be.
But
Puerto Rico might be in there.
Yeah, they might be doing better. That means that the arts are 1/1000th of the entire state budget, 1% of the state's budget. So if you're in a household that earns $50,000, that's like setting an annual budget of 50 cents on something your family uses. That is wacky. No,
it started a while ago, and it got really bad when Scott Walker was in office. Looks like it says in 2012, he cut the arts budget in Wisconsin from $2.4 million to $759,000.
Well, because conservatives hate good music. Tell me one good conservative band out there. I will wait.
Kid Rock.
I said good.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. I know it's a joke, but I'm just saying, like, there's no conservative making music that goes, I really never thought about abortion that way before. Like that doesn't exist. I really wasn't going to church until I heard that song about Jesus Christ. I
listened to Jesus Walks.
Right. Like
this is it's wild. Like the minimum. It says if Wisconsin arts spending had kept up with inflation, that's happening now, in the last 7 years after the 2012 budget cut, then Wisconsin's 2019 arts budget should be minimum $906,000.
Yeah, that's insanity to me. So can we scroll down? Because this is what's funny. Scroll down. All right, the 48th worst funded state versus everyone else. For comparison, Minnesota is the top ranking state in the U.S. for spending on the arts. In 2019, Minnesota plans to increase spending from $6.36 to $7.04 per capita on the arts for a total state budget of $39 million. And that, listen, Minnesota is in the same place. We're neighbors. Here they are spending on the nerds. You go to, every state in the Midwest has the same problems. You know what I mean? Like, we posted that voicemail of asking if there was a lot of black people in Wisconsin. We made the joke, it's pretty white out here. And someone made a really good point to me that 2 of the most prominent racial shootings that happened in 2020 both took place in the Midwest, literally in the states next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a weird thing. Like in my eyes, like the Midwest has problems, right?
Even one of the most prominent infrastructure nationwide issues in Michigan that's kind of
Flint,
Midwest,
right?
With Flint, Michigan. Like that's got probably the most press I've ever seen an infrastructure issue get. If you want
to see what the failing of government does, and when the hierarchy of who it affects the most, and when it takes place, like the whole white privilege aspect of things, the Midwest is a great place to study that, because we see when the Midwest drops the ball, the ones who are, on the theoretical totem pole, right? The ones who are at the bottom, group-wise, that are the most underprivileged, are affected the most. And we really painted that picture very well in the past 3 years. And I think it's a shame. I think it's great that Minnesota tries to do a lot for the arts. I think it's really cool. But was the fact that Wisconsin is 48th out of it, the idea of 50 cents per $50,000. Where is all the money going?
Yeah.
Because I got to be honest with you, I drive around every day. I don't see it. Do you see if it's 50 cents out of 50,000, where's the other $49,000? I don't see it. It's not in my bank account. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see it in the community. I don't see it with even the police force. I mean, Kenosha, even after the Jacob Blake shooting, I still believe has not rolled out police cameras, body cams. They still haven't done it. So it's like, where is this money going?
Right. I don't know, because I see a lot of new construction, but I can't imagine that's a huge portion of the budget, because a lot of that will have to go to, a lot of that budget I think has to go to paying administrative worker, paying people who work within the actual government. So it's almost like a masturbatory thing.
And you almost wonder well, actually, I'll tell you for sure. I know who it went to. It went to Governor Scott Walker and his cronies. That's what it is. This state has a bit of an oligarch to it. We gave so much money to Foxconn. People don't understand. They were so swindled by the Trump-Foxconn deal in Wisconsin. It is a strategy of coming to a state you need to win, going, I'm going to build jobs here. We're going to bring this company here. The state pays millions of dollars to get that company to be there. And what happens after that person wins the election? It gets turned into a development example property, meaning it gets turned into a showroom. The Foxconn, the one that was reported to hire thousands of people, they built it. It's a huge building. They built all these transformers, all these things to make a great amount of production here in Wisconsin. You look up, what is the Foxconn building now? It is for demo.
Yep.
It is to bring investors into Wisconsin and just go, look, this is what we built. This could be you. And they walk away.
I believe they originally advertised that as going to be creating about 11,000 jobs.
Right.
And then closer to when it was being done, the projection went down to 3,000 jobs. And in that time period, they kicked dozens of people out of their homes. I don't even know what the number was, but the land that they used, they had to uproot apartments and homes and shit like that.
So that's where the other everything besides the 50 cents is going to. So that's good. But
it's shit like that, and it's I mean, it's kind of just covering their own ass. If the crime is not getting any better, and if public safety services aren't getting any better, then really, what the fuck is that money doing? Is it just going to the enforcement of laws, like to like just to keep like, you know, in keeping the fucking thing from inching over,
Right.
keeping it from getting worse and worse and spilling into more sides of Kenosha, because like it's doing that regardless.
This is what people don't understand, and I would like to bring up an article before I talk about this. Look up how much it costs to build subsidized housing in LA, and it's something around $750,000 per apartment.
Per unit.
Per unit.
Yeah.
Per unit.
That is regular
for
average
like
unit.
one resident.
Yes.
Mind you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Weird.
500,000.
500,000. I remember it being like a 750. So that's the thing. What people don't understand. Let me let you in on how the world works a little bit.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, it's now 75. Yeah.
It's $750,000. So let me let you in on how the world works a little bit. Let's say you're a city and you're the mayor of the city, and you go, I want apartment complexes, I want a new arena, I want the highway done, I want a marina, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want all these things, right? And all of your friends have a lot of money, and they all subsequently own construction companies. What will happen is that the city will put that project up for bid, and all your friends will go, well, we want to do the electric, we want to do the piping, we want to do, you know, the actual construction of it, we want to do the ventilation, right? All these people will get involved, and they'll get no bid contracts. What does that mean? It means when you put in a bid for a contract and no one competes against you, and most likely that bid will be grossly overestimate, and the city can pay out because the city runs on tax dollars. So most likely along that chain, the city gets to make a new marina, and all my friends get to make millions of dollars, and I get a cut of that millions of dollars. And when election time comes along, all those companies are going to be rooting for me. So that's how it works. That's where the other, you know, thousands of dollars goes, is to cronyism, crony capitalism. It's a mob.
Mm-hmm. And it gets
in a mob.
It gets bigger the more that happens. Essentially.
Essentially, not even essentially, like absolutely.
Yes.
Right. So that's good.
But that's the Midwest. I mean, that's in other parts of the country you have other competing positives and negatives of the area, of the region of the country. We talked about the other day the weather, how that affects what people can withstand in one place. Within the Midwest,
Gets pretty cold.
it gets pretty rough, and that contributes, not surprisingly, to the overall motivation to actually tackle some of the issues here.
Right.
Whereas on the coasts, especially specifically the West Coast, you have a lot of people who have a lot of mental capacity to focus on more like social programs and issues. Not always well, rarely well, but
at all.
If at all, we just heard that figure about the $750,000 for a unit. I'm just saying that if they can't even do it, it's no surprise that we're not fucking doing it, and we're actually making other things worse simultaneously because they have arts programs.
Right.
They have colleges that have $60,000, $70,000 tuitions. I mean, they're supposed to be. Here's the thing. If the Midwest were to ever try to actually become a center for
industry,
a center for all the big things, for the industry, for the arts, for education, and for, I guess, what would you say, some other part of culture, I guess, some other agriculture, right? If it was to ever to hit those sweet spots, those perfect keys, it would be measurably better than anywhere on the coast, because I feel like we have the population. Like, I feel like we actually have the source potential that we're not sourcing from our population.
Right, and it's
because in years when there was funding for students to be in music and to be in arts, like, they did well. They did well on national levels.
I have to, I hear what you're saying, but an impractical version of me wants it to get a little worse, because then the ones who are best at it will come out of the rough we'll have the diamonds of the rough. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like a little hard work. You know, a little hard work goes a long way
Isn't
nowadays.
that kind of how it is right now?
That is how it is.
I am, yes.
So you want it to be like this?
In a way, I
get what you're
I
saying.
feel like I'm traumatized. Maybe I've fallen in love with my trauma.
I think we don't need to flatten the curve too much. I think there needs to be some curve. There needs to be not everybody's
Naturally.
gonna be a fucking
Genius.
no, and no one ever is.
No.
And it's you put the right people in the right places, and
Right.
magic happens.
Magic happens. Some of the greatest people come from the roughest places.
Or you
And
put
sometimes
the-
if we just
Yeah.
give it a little push, maybe we can make it a little
Because
worse.
you just put the wrong person in the wrong place, and sometimes it's even more magical. Sometimes you know what I'm saying.
But well, I don't know. You know what was crazy about this makes me really think about with the whole Foxconn and Trump thing. What makes me really think about like the Trump presidency is how many people were like, he just really said, he told it how it was. I'm like, dude, if he really told it how it was, he would have came to Wisconsin and be like, bro, whoever's running this shit sucks ass. This state is fucking cold as shit. All of you people are husky. So you just feel like everyone's a little husky here.
Instead, he came to Snap-on and he just pulled his pants down and let people just jerk him off the whole time he was there. I was there. Were you outside when
I
he
was
yeah.
there.
All he did was come in there and come in there literally, and everybody lapped it up like dogs.
He came everywhere. This is true.
Let's bring it back to this guy.
Who's this guy again?
This is the alderman.
Anthony
I know.
Kennedy.
What a dork. Come on, Anthony Kennedy. Can we get it together? How about this? You know what's more important than the promoting license? How about Kenosha's flag? Can we pull up Kenosha's flag, please? I mean, honestly, this is the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Whoever thought that this was a good idea?
The county?
Let's get it. Yeah, Kenosha. Yeah,
wait.
the one with the boat and all
boat?
the yeah.
Talking about the flag that's there.
Literally, pull that up. Can we get a wider view of this? That's horrendous. I mean, that is god awful.
It looks like a sports team flag.
Boats and trains.
Boats and trains. Can we look up and then look up the Wisconsin flag?
That one's
Even
classic.
No, it's
Come
classless. That is horrible.
Look at these
Any
guys.
flag that has words on it is bad. Any flag that has the name of the state in it is not good.
Because here's the thing: you look at that bear on the California flag, and you don't need to. It doesn't need to say California.
You're
on
done.
It. That's it.
That's called. You know what that is? Making a product. That's called being good at marketing. That whoever you know what I mean. That's
brand awareness, because it's on shirts. No, the Wisconsin flag's not on any T-shirts in any fun Urban Outfitter stores.
No,
none.
No,
Zero.
It's
And we should redesign the flag.
Yes,
and submit or read it. We have Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah.
we could do it.
We have
do it.
Photoshop.
It's horrible. Our flag is horrible.
What would be
it
on our flag? Glad we both went there. Okay. Let's think. Okay.
Think of some things.
What is the dominant religion in Kenosha? What do we think that is? Or what is it?
Oh, you want to go you want to make it okay, it's most likely Christianity.
Most likely.
What do you? Yeah, we're gonna have a yeah. We'll go over. We'll go that. We'll make it look like the Saudi Arabian one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we need some. We need a battle flag.
Right, and we'll have the cross and ARs.
Yep. We'll have a cross, and we'll wrap like barbed wire around it. It'll be all gothic looking. It'll just be a black background, like a pirate flag. It'll just be a black flag with a white cross. Bloody.
No, not a chain. The thorns.
Yes, that's what I said. Like the spikes,
yes.
like thorns, from Jesus' head.
Yeah.
And we would present it, and the first question would be are you an alt-right extremist group? And we go, no, we are podcasters.
Here's what we could do, where it would say INRI on top of the cross. You know what I mean? Where it says INRI, it's just the LGBTQ flag. That'd be perfect.
Just for a little progressivism.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like that, like a little
touch,
like a nice little emblem that's on like how you would have on a hat.
I think realistically, I think the most realistic Wisconsin flag would probably be a flag and then the silhouette of a billboard. and then the 1-800 like Jesus Now number.
It's
That
the
would be-
1-800 for the truth. The one
the
the one
truth.
on 94 that goes heaven or hell.
Heaven or
Where
hell.
will you go?
Where will you go?
Then the number.
And then on the border. On the border. The sexiest
and then
girls in Wisconsin.
then phantom fireworks somewhere on there.
White Castle.
Like,
Mars.
what actually would it be? It would have to, like, if you think it would, you know,
We're thinking about
I got
Wisconsin. It's got to be all Wisconsin.
We're gonna
What's
take
nice?
we're gonna take the California flag, and instead of a bear, we're gonna have a badger.
Simple.
How about a buck?
Ooh.
Bryce,
Wait.
can you do a quick search for us? What is the?
What does a buck look? No, I'm kidding.
What are some? Oh wait, I actually like that.
Yeah.
having like a buck. Oh,
Dude.
here it's a buck with like big ass antlers, a big ass head there.
Like a 10-pointer.
Like a bit,
crazy.
something that you're like, oh, I want to kill that, but it's on my flag, and but I love it and respect it. So and they just freak out. But in the antlers is like woven all beautifully, like just like grass and leaves and like
Flowers.
just moss and
But it can't
flowers
be
and
too
shit.
detailed, because we're gonna get right
No,
back where we're
it'll
at.
be like it'll because that's the only thing that's gonna be on it is this animal.
Okay.
It's just a little bit of like detailed texture like that sits on top of it, but a little bit of elegance.
What are two colors of Wisconsin? I think the Milwaukee flag really nailed it. The white, yellow, and
I love
blue
that
is
flag.
very good. That's a great flag.
I can't picture that flag.
I'll pull
You
it
can
up.
look it up. It's a great flag. They got it down.
This is awesome.
Reminds me of Chicago. Like it's got the simplicities like Chicago's. Chicago's flag is
gosh.
is excellent. They did a great job. I'm like geeking over the flag right now.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's nice.
To be honest, I wish that was the state flag.
yeah.
That is so good. So I want something. We need something. So what we'll do, we'll incorporate. This is Ukraine. Wait a minute.
Wait, this is the Ukraine.
We'll incorporate these colors. Jared is like, wait a minute. Stop. It's not connected.
I don't like this flag though.
I love this
Ah.
flag. You're wrong.
All right.
I like what you mean by the simplicity of it, but I don't.
This I want
I
this.
have no reasoning. Just it's not hitting me.
I want these colors, and then we have to implement the buck. We got to implement a buck into it. But like,
Colors are good.
We can get down. We can figure this out. We can design this.
we'll do. You know what? Yeah, we'll try to. We'll make a horribly Photoshop version of what we're thinking of.
Yeah. Why
It'll be
not?
it'll be crass.
It'll be crass. Let's move on to the voicemails.
Yeah, we want to do voicemails.
Yep, let's hit them.
All
we have a good one.
right.
Someone asked a really good question.
Okay. I think okay. Let's start with this one.
Which one is it?
That one that you're just
Okay.
talking. Here we go.
First of all, that got you on the voicemail. Totally made me feel like a clown, but okay. Hi, my name is Ray, and I just wanted to know y'all's take on ethical technology. For background, I'm 18. I've been online since I was like 12, and since then I've really been exposed to like a ton of people that I probably shouldn't have, and a ton of content that I really shouldn't have. Like, I've been getting DM'd by old men since I was 12. And for a lot of my friends, it's been a lot longer because they started when they were like 7 is when they first downloaded Instagram. So I want to know, what do you think? Oh, fuck, I should have thought about this more. I really don't think that there's anything that we can do to slow the progression of like when kids download these apps. There's always like parent controls and stuff, but if they want to, they're going to. So I personally think that we should start educating them about online safety around the same time that we start educating them about like real life safety, like stranger danger, but make it online as well. Yeah, that's it. I just want to know your take on that. Yeah, bye.
Thank you for leaving a voicemail. I'll start with. I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you what we should do. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and you're going to like this because you already know what the route.
Yeah.
That will be the justification for it, but it's more of an answer to something else. But
She said it in the thing.
She did.
She said the justification in it already that people
right.
who the money's already been paid for who use this.
Right, but the thing is that what's going to happen is eventually you're going to need to use some sort of identification to get online. That's what's going to happen. And people don't take that sentiment seriously, but it's already happening in different countries. if we want to stop the grooming of young children online, you would have to get rid of children being online, or you would have to corner them into a part of the internet that people who are older are not allowed in, right? And that would have to be done through some sort of identification, which will happen in a sense of, if you don't have this identification card, you can access the internet, but you're not going to be able to access like social media. You're not going to be able to access YouTube, TikTok. It's purely educational. It's purely just information seeking, academic in the purest form, right? And safe information, things that are like, it will be like rated to like a 14-year-old, what we consider like okay information to know. And they're right. I think teaching kids more realistically about the internet at a younger age is a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you do really? Not go on the internet at a young age, but that's not always your prerogative.
It's on parents. It's always been on parents, but now it's really on parents because it's actually people who are having kids now actually have the choice if they expose their kids to technology,
They all
like
have an
real
iPad.
technology. Before it's like, yeah, we have a computer in this one room of our house. Now it's like you have access to everything. And you're 3 years old, 4 years old.
Everybody, every
it's a
small
lot more,
child has an iPad.
They could. And that's the thing. It's like parents like to think that it's going to like alienate their kids, stunt them socially. But the only thing I've seen, the biggest thing I've seen stunt children is technology and social media. So it's like, it's a toss up. It's really like, what is the iPad? Because here's the thing. These people who make this technology.
Oh, hold on. Before you go to the big long tail, I want to say, because why do we look at that where we have to put them into that social world? Because we see, we don't call it internet abuse, but being abused by the internet is the cool thing.
Yeah.
But it's just called being on the internet.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just don't have the wrong think in place yet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not quite in place yet, but it will be, because, and kind of what I was going to say goes off of that. It's always been a function of the people who created this technology, or it's been a goal of the people who created this technology to be the new parents of the generation. And what I mean by that is they have essentially become the ones who create the personality of anyone who's in school currently. Anyone who's younger than us at the moment, the majority of their personality is crafted by the format of the technology that they use, the social media of their choice, whatever category or group or sect of that media they fall into. Right. And it's not that they just happen to fall into it, that there's just no choice involved. I mean, children have everybody has a certain instinct that's going to drive them to that, but having it in front of them, having it given the opportunity to take that instinct which is governed by your DNA, what like your family has passed down to you, what your household living is like, your socialization, your nature versus nurture, that all plays into where you're going to seek a community on the internet.
Right, for sure.
And if it's going to get to a point, hopefully not in such a horrible way, but where that socialization is cut out. Right. There's parents don't necessarily raise their children in the same way that we know them to have. Anybody who's listening knows them too.
The internet and parenthood will be a partnership at some point.
Yeah.
Right. And it's crazy.
Or that's what's trying to happen.
And you're saying that the people who really have a large influence on the internet are the ones that have a larger influence on the socialization of people. Whatever is being put in front of them on that iPad, which is a lot of time is YouTube. The people who govern YouTube have the governing voice of what socialization is going on with a small child. Yeah. But the thing is, and I don't think it's working in the way that they want because I feel like in the way that YouTube wants people to consume, it is always more and more. But I think the internet is proving that it is a form of schizophrenia, in the sense of that the internet is like a multitude, is a brain the internet is a reflection of the human psyche in the sense of how fast it moves, how much information is constantly being processed per second, right? We have connected the world globally through an invention that has changed truly the direction of mankind. And with such common access to the internet, we're seeing that when we overload people with all that information that's coming from many, many different angles, we are inducing a form of schizophrenia into people. And that's why I think the control via the internet doesn't really work, because I don't think over-information provides informative results in the sense of pure direction that you need people to move. I think it ultimately only puts them within chaos that becomes very unmanageable, in the sense of if people want, and we know this is true, because when you listen to journalists like Whitney Webb, the next step of the internet is saddling the internet. Because people who are in control and who do have a lot of power and a lot of sway over what's happening around the world have realized this, and have realized that if they want to have more direction with where people are going with their actions and the information that they are consuming, you have to put some barriers on things, right? Like, it's good to get people upset about a trans swimmer in Florida. That's good for the polls. You know what I mean? That's a great left versus right thing. It's not good when a portion of the right wing wants to kill them and posts about it. You know what I'm saying? That one doesn't look good for optics. And that, albeit they exist in real life, they provide a lot of their opinions and information to the internet for others to consume. That they don't want. Now, a lot of people are like, well, what's the problem of getting rid of extremists online? It's a great question. Is there a problem in it inherently? I don't know. It's more the problem of who gets to decide who's an extremist and who isn't.
And what that definition, how that definition changes over time.
Right.
You will push people into you will push people who maybe were on the edge of what most people would consider extremism into further extremism by creating a more desperate situation for them, like a lack of access to communication with other people. Right. Or then you have, as time goes by, as that definition changes, you have it where the barrier to being normal and rule-abiding and extremist doesn't look that different to the most rational person. It looks like it could be one little thing that makes you a tenable extremist.
Right.
Weird.
What it kind of is, let's speak on the topic of racism and the internet. Racism in the real world is at a slow data rate. Racism on the internet is extremely fast. And what do I mean by that? That might sound strange. I mean the amount of clicks it takes to find a person with racist views and a racist consumable media and maybe even a racist discussion forum, I can tell you right now, it's a few types in a click. That's a fast data rate of finding people with racist extremist views. However, if you're at home, starting from home, and you live on your own, and I have to go find someone who's racist.
Or a group of people who are all racist together and be doing racist things.
Right. Much slower rate of progression. That's what's strange about it. That's more the point I'm trying to convey. And that's what the people who, control the internet understand. However, what do you do when you flip it to another quote unquote extremist group when it comes to more libertarian types, more leftist types, people that don't inherently have racist, oppressive views, people who don't inherently have sexist, misogynist,
in a traditional form of like...
Right. That's the thing about the alt-right. They're inherently bad. It makes sense, right? But when you flip it to the other side, or the middle extreme, more like libertarian, going in different directions on the political spectrum, that inherent, not liking people based on whatever form of intersectionality identification that they may be goes away when the other groups of ideology start talking from a purely of, well, maybe we should make the government smaller, or another maybe we should start, spreading the wealth a bit. Those ideas, in the eyes of the beholder, the eye of Sauron, are just as dangerous as the racist who wants to kill people. on par. Now that sounds crazy.
Yes.
To the normal individual, you go, clearly the one who is racist and wants to kill people is the worst out of that group. And I would agree. But when it comes to someone who's wanting to control a mass society and collect as much wealth from it as possible, the ones who promote legitimate danger and the ones that promote change to the system in which makes them money are on the same par of extremism in the capitalist monopolist mind. They are on the same level.
What's weird is that this is exactly what's already happening, is that there is no room in the minds of people on the far right or the far left, or kind of even closer in the middle, to realize that we're kind of on the same side in a sense, even though we're like our beliefs and traditions and values are probably very different. What is that because of? There's so much deconstruction that has to happen in order to actually rally those groups together. And and every single day, every instance that pops up, the beholders feed the narratives of both sides that they will never come together. That they truly punch that divide. They make that divide even bigger.
Right.
Because like at a certain point, if they did start moving closer together, the extremist values held by both sides would reach a sort of consensus that makes sense. Because right now it's all based on non-consensus. Right now it's based on opposing views on history and on biology and on just like inherent values about humanity.
Society as a whole. It's an agreement on how the shape of society should be. And instead of
that's based on the shape of on what a human is, on like what it's based on these unconscious beliefs.
But I mean, in the sense with the left, one side versus the other, you're saying those extremist views not coming into the middle, and news outlets promoting the things they can't agree on. I lost it. I'm gonna be. I had a really good point. I lost it. I'm a little upset about that one.
They just hit us with the
dude. They did
with the frequency.
What were we just talking about?
What show are we on? What's the program?
The Orb of Confusion.
And they're still doing it now because now we're even further from the point.
Oh no! What happened? Oh, that was weird.
That was weird, everybody. That was really weird.
Zap.
I still kind of know where we are with the.
No, continue your point with the versus the extremes and our different opinions on society.
Where I was going with that is that ultimately, like we talked about on a couple weeks ago, that ideology at the core of it is some belief about the intrinsic meaning of life and the intrinsic meaning of a person down to its smallest part. What it looks like as ideology is an ever-expanding idea, principle, statement, theory about that's built on society and socialization. It's built through the socialization from other people, out to the size of a community, to the size of a society, to the size of the whole world. That ideology tries to paint, or tries to understand that intrinsic meaning that we all try to understand
through a scope
that it tries to encapsulate the entire material world, and that's not worked ever in the history of the entire world.
Ideology. Jared, what you don't understand is just a ideology.
That's where it's so simple. That's what it is.
And that's why we shouldn't let pedophiles groom children on the internet. Because it is purely ideology.
Pedophilia is ideology. Sure. Well, it's weird because of these kids, like obviously we should not have a space where we should not have it be so easy or possible even.
Right.
Possible for a child to be groomed on the internet. Why is that possible?
The TLDR.
Yeah.
Pretty much is saying that what our caller was asking about of when we should introduce children to the internet and how do we do it safely. It is what she maybe they, I don't know who they are. Maybe he. what they asked is such a big question, because you would think, well, maybe parents should just do a better job. No, because we're talking about conglomerates and we're talking about society and culture. And you're right. Why do you, like, to answer your question, why do we feel that we need to put a pause on when children should enter the internet? Because us as humans know that it's a kind of a scary place that should be, gated, right? So it's a little freaky, the implications that it actually has on the world through ideology, through society, through business, through our lives, through our actual socialization. And when people should be allowed into a world where they can be changed.
It's a peephole, but it's a peephole where when you look through it, you see the entire...
It's like seeing an angel, Jared.
You see that those horrible demonic depictions of biblically accurate angels. Those are actually that's just demonic imagery and symbolism. You guys, that's all based on old illustrations. The whole swirling thing, that's old school demonic satanic imagery. But you see like the beast, you see the Leviathan walking through New York City. Like you see this giant amorphous beast floating in nothing.
Now, even though most people just look at Instagram, it's because they can't see what's behind the screen.
They're seeing Cthulhu. They're seeing the call. They're hearing the call of Cthulhu. No one's gonna understand that.
What's the next voicemail we got? We got a second one.
No, I think that's it. Do you want to do the
No, there is a new one.
Isn't there a new one?
There was just one new one in today. It might have been read already.
Oh, it's the guy that was talking about wanting to collaborate with something.
I messaged him. We don't need to play it.
Yeah. It's more personal than something to play on the show.
I think it's cool that I think it's cool they use the number to reach out to us, though. I appreciate that.
I hope more people do.
More people should do that.
Yeah, that was a really good voicemail too. Like really cool.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you, Ray. Hope that was a good answer for you.
Was it? Oh yeah,
they said their name was Ray.
I want to talk about the Leah Thomas thing. Did I get that? Leah Thomas?
Yep.
I've been getting
Leah Thomas.
So just to reiterate. So there was a NCAA competition in Florida for swimming, and this is at the college level, correct?
Yes.
Now, from what I read, the NCAA competition for its women's swimming, there's multiple competitions. There's not just one.
Right.
And there's been a little bit of, people have been kind of in turmoil, some more than others, about
couple weeks
letting a trans woman compete. Thank you. Critics accuse trans swimming star Leah Thomas of having an unfair advantage. The data tells a different story. Now, the moment people read that headline, they go, "You're just looking at the liberal side."
Hey, I read the Outsider article. It wasn't good. It was poorly written.
This is written very well, actually. This is the Independent. But yeah, on March 17th, Leah Thomas became the first openly transgender athlete to win America's top trophy in university sports when she swam to victory in the women's 500-yard freestyle race. Ms. Thomas, 22, won first place in the National Collegiate Athletic Association's NCAA First Division Swimming Championship, her final competition as a college athlete. Amid her success, though, Miss Thomas, God, has become a lightning rod in the debate about trans women in sports, as well as a target for much of the American right. Her right to compete in women's races, and sometimes her gender itself, has been attacked by sports stars, politicians, activists, her competitors, and even some of her teammates' parents, as well as protesters at the NCAA championship last week, who argued that her time living as a man gives her an unfair advantage. Now,
interesting.
Can we scroll down? I want to see more of the stats. So
let's do the stats now. It's probably we kind of really just got to go to the stats because that's
where are
really
the stats?
It's on there. You keep going. This is a very right up. Right. How fast did Thomas swim before going on HRT? So just to iterate, to transition on an organic level, if you are a trans person, you must take hormones. And depending on which, how you identify, if you identify as male, you're going to be taking testosterone. If you identify as a boy or girl, sorry, a female
Woman.
dude, I'm freaking out. A woman, you're taking estrogen, and changes, as you can imagine, start happening. And the longer that you do it, you start, your body starts taking more of the shape of the gender you identify with, and we have seen that it helps with those. People who need the transition, it helps them, reduces the rate of even suicide. It's a good therapeutic thing for them.
It often is something that people, my close family member is trans, and this isn't for all trans people, I've been told, it reduces the dysphoria that they feel.
Right.
So that's kind of why that it's pretty necessary for a lot of trans people.
Right. So, Ms. Tom, I want to read this because I want to get this story correct.
Okay, maybe we should edit some of this out though.
That's fine.
Just think about that.
Leah Thomas was an elite competitive swimmer while a men's team in the University of Pennsylvania. Says Mr. Stockwell, the 1650-yard event would have had Leah in the top 30 and 34 in the country in the bubble making NCAA. Oh my God, it is a very
it's just long.
Yeah. The
her best time in the 500 it's here. Her best time in the 500 yards was 5.6% slower than before transition.
While her 1,000-yard time was 7.5% slower than her 1650-yard time was 7.2%. So yeah, there's like one part in this article where it compares the times like to the T.
Yes.
She's not the best swimmer.
And the HRT, that's like I think it's hormone replacement therapy or something. And that has accurately, okay, so I did cross country for a number of years in high school. And for a while before I got there, it was actually right when I got there that they started to change this for some reason. And it was an all right transition to change this, but the boys team would run the typical 5K for years. It's always been like that. But the women's team would run a 4K. I think there was something to do with like the endurance capacity of most female runners. I don't know if that's for sure, but like that's how people usually presented it. It wasn't like it was more of like a leveling, like an averaging to average, like to be able to compare more to like the capabilities of the average male runner and the average female runner.
Right.
Now, people debate whether or not that's valid to do, but for the most part, it checks out. But there's still room for like, it was fine when they switched to 5K, but I remember there was an adjustment period, a vast, difficult adjustment period for a lot of the women runners that I knew, where it was harder to run a 5K.
That extra thou.
I mean, that's an extra 6 minutes,
right.
And like what's happening here is that with her taking hormone therapy, what her body's able to do is checking out with like what team she's on, like with being the gender that she is, like,
right.
And that's not saying that like anyone's like there's no like, male bodies and female bodies are different, but like that's fine because like they still compete with each other and they have a good time.
Right. It's we're seeing that with the like this is the problem. And if we could scroll down, I want to find where they talk about the other swimmer. There was one clearly where they keep going. They talked about clearly another swimmer who dominated at this competition.
This is who you're talking about?
Katie Ledecky, I believe. This argument should never have been, says Baylor. I want to find if you find more where they're talking about that, just going through it, it might have been up, but there's a Ledecky like competed at this and like murdered like a ton of records. But this is the thing. Whether it's Ledecky or not, all these people who are yelling about a trans person swimming in women's sports don't care about women's sports. They never did. Conservative like comedy radio was like, who's gonna go to the WNBA championship this week? Like it's not it. Like so many people, they love pretending. They love pretending they give a rat's ass about what the moment that it can become a group of people can become political. They're like, I'm in. Who's fucking with them? And it's like, it's not. You don't care. Stop pretending you care. You're not going to, any of the women's sports competitions because you don't give a fuck. And just because now it's like, now we can get political. They're letting who race in our women's swimming?
They go, now I can compete.
Right,
I can race for my son, for my daughter.
It's all a bunch of shitty Facebook memes like, who's swimming in our NCAA competition? Who? It's like,
You're doing the Sam Hyde thing, which is kind of
it's so dumb. This is so stupid.
People are crazy. Like it'd be really funny to see the parents of most athletes and talk to them about this, because the parents of athletes are some of the most disgusting people in the world. There's some of the most, bottom of the bag of chips people. They're just disgusting. They're loud and they smell and they don't have any sense of personal
animals.
Space. And there's something deeply wrong with them. There's something also deeply wrong with a lot of athletes. But there's also something deeply wrong with a lot of artists. Here's the thing.
It all comes together.
Yeah.
Everything about everybody
is a little
whack, is a little against what we believe inside.
Right.
I am a little bit, off. Like everybody has something kind of wrong with them. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would agree.
And these parents, is what
Me
I'm saying.
too.
Like you can see it. I know it's true, because when you look at the parents of these fucking people, you go, oh, that's who gave it to them. Duh. Because they're sitting on the stands. And like my mom, she goes to see my brother swim and shit.
She claps.
and she's like, woo, like she does the respectful typical thing, like, yes, go look. It's like, yes, like just good. But then you have the ones who stand either at the very top of the bleachers.
You better go! Go!
And it's horrible.
You're not eating when you get home, I swear to God! Kids are crying at these competitions.
They come up for a breath of air in the water and they just hear their mom screaming like she's giving birth to them again. Like, just the pain of childbirth is just going over and over. I gave birth to you, little shit. You better win this fucking race for me.
I gotta tell you this story. There's this guy I played baseball with. His dad was like the notorious, there's a few of them, but this guy was just like, he's just screaming all the time. In high school, there was a pitcher from an opposing team. He had one arm, okay, and he was playing with one arm, and he would keep his glove, but underneath his.
I've seen, I've seen that.
And he would pitch
Yeah.
and grab it.
Yeah.
And he struck out this kid who's got the dad, and he's like, he's got one arm, for Christ's sakes.
An animal with no respect for humanity, an animal with no respect for anybody else except the only thing he wants is for his failure of a son to be better. And it's such a projection.
Yeah.
It's
what I'm
so
saying.
much
Yeah.
projecting.
And and that's the thing. That's where you get toxic team, whatever, camaraderie that, and this is, I've never had much of that experience. There's always a weird level of fucking butting shoulders, butting heads with people on teams. But it's that's just sports though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing something that requires no thinking. So the moment that you have
Throw the ball.
the moment you have the opportunity to make an intellectual observation about your teammate, it's gonna be horrendous, and it's gonna be all
vile filth,
fueled with young prepubescent testosterone. It's disgusting. But kids should do it.
Can we scroll up? That was amazing. That was. I want to keep.
There's her stats, by the way, if you wanted to find those.
This is the end of the article.
Yeah, go up. I really want to find. Okay, a little bit more. Keep going.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the Ledecky thing. I literally read it earlier.
Yeah,
and it's not that.
Right here. It says
whatever.
this woman is allowed.
No,
to
it's not.
shoot
It's
and
like
dominate.
it's talking about her direct. It's talking about Ledecky directly, about how good she is. You know what?
She's good.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Listen.
we're fine.
Listen, people, how about this? Let's settle down, leave Leah Thomas alone, and everyone Stop complaining. Get it. You know what? There's a war. We're about to be in a nuclear war. Gas is milk is $5. All right. There's much more important things going on. People making adult decisions for themselves to become someone they want to be, and competing within a sport that we kind of see they don't really have an advantage in, unless and there is rules for the NCAA. For when people. You can join, you can switch, you know, perform in the gender you identify. Sports, like there's a rule of like how long you need to be on it. So someone's fucking counting. I'm just saying, there's somebody in there doing the fucking studying, but you know they're not gonna be on Tucker Carlson tonight. No. They're not gonna be on it because this country is full of rats.
Here's the thing. Here's why I know that this is ultimately the conversation is turning into a steaming hot pile of shit right before it gets obliterated. Is that the conversation about trans children is now completely? They're like, we didn't say any of those things, because before, a lot of people who flirt with the right, who are on the fence about where they stand on the trans issue. I shouldn't say issue on the trans debate, I guess.
Right. A lot of
that's
people.
Another word for that. But is that because these kids aren't problems to the majority of people? That they're so against children who are transitioning, and there's a lot of people who say that like a teenager or a child should wait till have to wait till they're older to be able to make more decisions about their body changing.
Right.
So that conversation has been had for years. And now that there's an actual adult college student who's competing and made the choice to transition as an adult.
No, earlier. Well, they were...
but actually transitioned.
Right. Oh, now they're...
changed their body and will be probably changing their body further. They're still mad. So that's where I'm like a little like... Parts of this conversation are valid. When we talk about like what do sports mean to us, what does how are people covering these sports? Do people even think it's fair? How fair are sports in general? That's where it's kind of valid to have these conversations. But then to not acknowledge the realness of the situation for Leah Thomas. Like to acknowledge the realness of the situation for trans people and how this is just another nail in the coffin in having a real discussion about trans people. That's where it's lost on people. That's where I'm upset.
Do you know why, Jared? Because who would have thought at the end of the day, even if it was peachy, they still hate them. These people who are complaining. They don't like them. They don't like trans people. They just don't. They are transphobic. And transphobic's not even the right word. Because it's not a fear. It's anger.
It's hate.
It's hate. Like you can't send them a link from an Instagram fucking thing and be like, you should really check this out. I think it's going to change some opinions out here. And it's like that person who is screaming in the back, at the swim meet is 55 years old and an alcoholic. Like they're not changing their ways. And it's just like with time, that's all it's going to be. We know what it's going to be. We know what we want it to be. We don't want anybody hurt. We want everybody to get along, and we want, people to be represented fairly and to live full and fulfilling lives. But guess what? There's a portion of this country that's getting old, and their time is coming. That's all that you have to say about that.
Their time has gone, because the time that we have right now is that, because here's how we really could make trans people feel better about the wait of like waiting for things to become more accepting, is by like waiting with them, is like by understanding how they have to perceive that wait time, how long that actually will feel to wait that long. That's the thing with my family member who's trans, is that it sucks when someone says to you that you have to wait for these things, like to do these things that would solve the way you're feeling. Like imagine if someone said that to you about something that you were feeling, that you're like, I know the solution, or at least I even think I know the solution. I mean, both.
And then they go, you can't have
and
that
they,
right now.
And they go, well, there's gonna be, you know, oh, it's a top down thing. You know, there's a lot of bureaucracy with getting that through. You'd be like, what the fuck? You'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. Like getting surgeries or like getting like something that would change the way that you live your life in a positive way. Imagine having to wait an unfair amount of time for that, or just an arbitrary amount of time for that.
You'd be angry.
Yeah.
You'd
And
be
you
very-
have to wait with that person. You would be angry. You have to wait with these people. You know, like what else are we gonna do besides? Like
That's a
they're
crazy
still
way to
they're
put it,
around with
Jared.
those.
That's
Yeah.
a crazy way to put it. Truly, that's wild actually to think of it like that. I have never thought of it like that, but you're right. It's to think about like, wow, imagine like you're thinking, oh, I can't wait to grow up and go to college and be on my own. But if you're like, yeah, if I don't do the things I need to do, my life is going to be horrible. And they go, well, wait a little longer. You're like, that's wild. It's wacky. Well, we got to wrap it up.
Yep. What are we?
Or pass.
It's at the end. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Please check out Iconosha, www.iconosha.com. Please check out That's a Beauty Productions. Thank you all for joining us today. This was a very good episode. I
Please
hope
keep
you all
subbing.
enjoy. Please subbing,
Yep.
like and subscribe.
Get off of Twitter because we're not on there really.
Twitter's
get on the other
ass.
ones. Get on the TikTok. Get on the Instagram. Get on the YouTube.
Yeah, Twitter's done. Twitter's not good
Yeah.
for you.
I like Twitter.
Well,
I
yeah,
like
'cause
Twitter,
you're a
but I don't
millennial.
like. I only like Twitter because it's my news. Sort of.
That's why too.
Sort of.
But thank you everyone for tuning in. You find us everywhere. Find us on everything. Follow all the accounts. And
Good.